In this video, I show you many tricks on using handheld movement and how I create the entire video without the stabilizer. You can get smooth footage without any stabilizer, and I will show you how. There are two possibilities to shoot handheld. Firstly, with the goal of creating an intentional shake in the movement. This should only be used to enhance what you want to tell with your story. Mostly used for fight scenes, stressful adventures and intense scenes. Or something terrible happens to an actor. Or to create more power in the shot. Can be essential to use it combined with smooth shots, but it should have a reason, like a smooth shot should have its reason too. Otherwise it can be perceived as an accidental camera shake when it doesn't fit the story. That is what doesn't look professional, and we definitely want to avoid it. With intentional camera shake, we want the shake, but we don't want the micro jitters. How we get rid of that you will see soon. Handheld shots have the magic to make the audience feel as if they are with the talents together at the moment and experience the adventure together with them. The next possibility is to replicate other types of stabilizers. The goal is to get the smoothest possible movements, but we have to be true here. It's not always as perfect as when you use a specific stabilizer, but it gets really close. Not everyone has the money to spend on all possible stabilizers and want to carry around all this gear. So take a look at how we can still get smooth shots. Firstly, be aware that wider focal lengths are easier to get smooth looking footage than with longer lenses. Longer lenses have a very narrow field of view, which is trickier. Every little movement becomes a huge movement in your image. It's a lot more visible. When your camera has an in-body stabilization, I recommend you turn it on. It helps a lot to get rid of these unwanted micro jitters, especially with longer lenses. And if your goal is to get the smoothest possible shots, you can also consider shooting in a high frame rate and slowing the footage down in post to reduce the shake. But this is not always the best option, because slow motion is, as an example, nothing that fits in a fast-paced scene. Lastly, you can use post-stabilization like the warp stabilizer in Premiere, which takes the last little movements out of your footage. The newer Sony cameras also record gyro data, which allows you to stabilize the footage with the software from Sony called Catalyst Browse, giving you even better results. It works only when you record in the all-eye codec and while the lens and in-body stabilization is turned off. In the active stabilization mode, the gyro data gets recorded too, so you can stabilize it in Catalyst Browse, but make sure you don't have any lens stabilization on simultaneously, otherwise no gyro data gets recorded. Now talk about how to hold your camera, which is important for all the following techniques. This can vary from the camera body you have, but try to push two parts of the camera against each other with two hands to create more stability. This way we can minimize the micro jitters. Also, when you add weight to your camera, this can help to reduce the micro jitters. Most of the films you see with the handheld look are created with big heavy camera setups that don't have micro jitters at all, because the camera is heavy. With the lightweight body you have more of a problem that the little movements are visible in the shot. You can also use tools like a camera strap and push it away from your body. This way you get also more stabilized shots. And the tripod attached to the camera can also help, and it adds weight to the camera body. Or a shoulder rig will also reduce the micro jitters and get you none to less camera shake, but we concentrate us here more on using no additional stabilizers. The first shot that we want to recreate is the tripod shot. Here we try to get no movement. I hold the camera like this, so I can support the lens and press both sides of the camera against each other. With bigger cameras, you can also use two handles and press these against each other. Hold the camera always close to the body. Also, the more contact points you have with the camera, the more stable it will be. Looking through your viewfinder can help to stabilize it even more. You can also push your body or arms against something to be steadier. Then make sure you stand wide enough so you are more stable. And hold your breath during the shot. Another way is to place the camera on a surface, if it gives you the angle you need. To change it slightly, you still can put something under the lens or the body. This will get you the best results, but generally avoid long tripod takes handheld, especially if you have to hold your breath. The same tips can be used to get some pan shots. Try to move your upper body and not only your hands to get the best results. Always keep the camera close to the body and make use of the strap or hold the camera like in the tripod example to give it more stability. If you want to get a whip pan and struggle to land perfectly on your subject, you can also start on your subject and whip away. Later in the post you can reverse the clip and have the perfect whip pan. Make sure that the person doesn't blink and you have nothing in the frame like other walking people, because they will walk backward when you reverse the clip. If you want to get a tilt, you can also use the same basic tricks here. Another possibility is to place the camera on a surface. Put your hands onto the lens and with the other hand you try to tilt the camera. Also this way you can create excellent results. This works also well when you place the camera on the ground and tilting up, or on a higher surface while tilting down. Another method is also stationary but with intentionally introduced movement. Try to move your camera slightly in a repeatable pattern. This is easier and causes less shake than trying to hold it still. Swing it gently with your whole body from left to right, or create a round movement and repeat it for the entire recording time. This way you get less jittery movements and a more dynamic shot than on a simple tripod. This is a technique that you will find a lot in news, run and gun interviews on the street, as well in documentaries. The next one is the push in or pull out shot. Hold your camera also here with the stable grip and push your hands together or use the strap, and keeping it always close to your body is important. The shorter the distance of your move, the easier it is to get. You can move only your body or you can also walk, but when you walk, try to walk with the ninja walk. This means you should not walk normally like every day. You should be a bit more on your knees and roll your feet smoothly on the ground from heel to toe, so you get the least amount of possible shake. It looks weird, but it's worth it to get the shot you need. Combined with all the other tricks like how to hold the camera, you can achieve excellent results. But with shorter distances and no walking at all, you have it easier to get a smooth shot. More important is to use a foreground. This way also short push-ins have a big effect and won't be noticed by your viewer. So it's better always try to use short distances so that you only move your body for the move without steps and look for a foreground object. Therefore, distribute your body weight as far back as you can. Then change it smoothly with bended knees to the front side. Keep the camera close to the body, avoid extended arms, and ease the movement in and at the end of the shot out. The next movement is a rolling effect. Also hold the camera with two hands close to your body and roll it smoothly. This is probably the easiest to achieve from all the moves we learn in this video. Now we get a slider movement. Similar to the push in or push out shot, the shorter the distance of your move, the easier it is to get. Combined with the foreground, your movement becomes more noticeable. In this shot type, I will avoid trying to walk because we try to become a straight movement. So to work only with your body gets you for sure better results. Also don't start abruptly. Try to start slow, go faster and then slow down again. So ease the movement in at the beginning and at the end of the move ease the movement out. Try to move your body weight from left to right by distributing your weight from one side to the other, and keep your knees also here slightly bent. Now we want to replicate the crane shot. The best way to do it is to hold the camera again in a solid position close to the body and make a squat. Do not try to get it only with extended arms or bending your back. It will give you more shake. Makes it also here more impressive if you use any sort of foreground or if you're looking for a surface that you can stand on to reach a higher angle. The last movement is to combine different moves, but let your focus at the preset setting, so objects go in and out of focus. Or you can start out of focus and let your subject come into focus. If it's challenging to hit the perfect focus point, you can also start with the subject in focus, move away from it and reverse the clip in post. Also avoid anything in the shot that makes it visible that you play the clip in reverse, like blinking, walking people, birds, and so on. It can happen that it takes a while to get a perfect shot. Don't be afraid to get multiple takes. I do this all the time. With the time you know exactly what you can use and what has too much shake in it. With additional stabilization in post, you can get really amazing results. Especially with the newer Sony cameras combined with catalyst browse. If you know you want to stabilize it in post, increase your shutter a bit so you have less motion blur, but the software can stabilize your footage better. But generally I shoot according to the 180-degree rule and had never problems with it, especially with catalyst browse. But for fast moving subjects, it makes sense to use a faster shutter. It recognizes objects better than with a lot of motion blur, which can happen fast during a faster handheld shot. And if you struggle to get a specific handheld shot, it could be because you try to get a relatively long take. Try to break it up into smaller pieces instead of one long shot, and therefore use more different interesting angles. This way you have a faster pace in the edit and the shots are easier to get. Now let's look at an example video which was entirely shot handheld except for a few drone shots. Now I'm sure you're able to get steady shots by using your camera handheld and know when shaking the footage makes sense. Try it by yourself, practice all these moves today until you get one steady shot of each move. Then you are ready to shoot your next project. Let's create.